Hello guys, God here. You're probably wondering why I'm here today. During my eternal life, I've seen a lot of sins, really bad ones. I've seen what Mustache Man did during the Second World War, and I let it slide. I also forgave the France football team for their mistakes during the final of the World Cup. But some sins are too strong to be forgiven. Buying the TL-7-120 in the lucky draw is one of them. Here's my message to you. Do not do that. You deserve better. I didn't die for this. Thank you.
Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new review in which we're going to discuss a little bit about the TL-7-120, an American Tier 9 heavy tank that Wargaming just put into the shop through the lucky draw. It's going to cost around 14,000 gold, but is it really worth it? It's time for us to find out together. When it comes to the statistics, there is something a little bit special about the TL-7-120, which obviously makes it out of pocket for several types of players. The fact that it's a heavy, basically a heavy tank that is played like a medium. Why am I telling you this? Simply because when you take a look at the statistics and specifically the engine, you'll find out that the top speed doesn't seem to fit what current mediums in the game would be able to perform, because you're only going at 36 kilometers per hour. But there is something very special about the consumables you can equip your tank with, aka the improved engine power boost. And this thing, ladies and gentlemen, is a game changer. Because yes, this tank is not going to be able to be played like a regular medium all the way, but for 20 seconds or a little bit longer if you are using this special consumable, you will have the possibility of becoming one of a nightmare for your opponents. That being said, let's dive into the other statistics and specifically the gun. The accuracy is quite good, sitting at 0.28 of gun dispersion. But there is a catch. You have 4 seconds of aim time. 4 seconds is quite long. What does it mean? It means that with this tank, snapshots are not necessarily going to go through all the time. You gotta be careful when you're shooting. If you do have the possibility of waiting for your full aim to be complete, I would advise you to do so. For the reload time, 10.3 seconds. It's in the norm. It's not going to be the greatest DPM you've seen because you're sitting at 2.3 thousand, sorry. And for the penetration, if you are using calibrated shell, you should be fine with 270 with your regular and nearly 400 with your heat. So yeah, you're definitely packing. On top of that, you're an American tank, which means that your gun depression is going to be good. And here it's perfect because you're sitting at 7 degrees. For the other statistics, and most specifically the armor profile, let's say that you're not in rest. The main problem being the cupola. If you do have the possibility of hiding said cupola, you shouldn't struggle on the battlefield at all, because the rest of the tank is pretty strong, especially when you're playing against tier 8. But if you encounter any tier 10 and they switch to gold shell, your turret becomes penetrable and the rest of the tank as well. So make sure to play it accordingly to what kind of enemies you're confronting right in front of you. Now comes the time for us to get an ace tanker. And as you can see, we are playing top tier, which is probably the best thing that can ever happen, regardless of what kind of tank you're playing actually. And the cool thing is that at the very beginning of the video, and at the very beginning of the gameplay I should say, we are using our engine speed boost. Why are we doing that? Because it will allow us to get into position quickly. And specifically knowing that you're going up to 45 kilometers per hour when you're using this is definitely one of the greatest advantage, because if you position yourself wisely, you should be able to make a big surprise to your opponents. As you can see, judging by the map, I see that the mediums are going on the heavy side, so I'm assuming that the whole enemy team is here. And you're gonna see pretty quickly that I did not miss. Basically here, what we want to do is using our 7 degrees of gun depression in order to get the job done. But unfortunately, as I told you, with 4 seconds of aim time, we are not making any shots counting at the beginning of the game. We missed the 53 TP, we missed the Centurion. Luckily for us, we didn't miss the WZ-120. TL-7-120. Now the question is, what should we do? Our tank is strong, and I really want to insist on that, strong only when you are using it in all out. If you do not do that, you are going to struggle. But unfortunately, some situations are forcing you to go out of your place in order to catch your opponents if you want to do some damage. And this is exactly what we are currently doing. Getting to that Kyler, I don't really know how we pronounce that. And unfortunately for us, the Foch decided to push us for no reason because we have our teammates behind. Okay, Foch, why not? You died, and that's all that matters. And now what we want to do is getting as close as possible to that Kyla in order to snap another shell. Luckily for us, he's pretty occupied with our mediums, so we are not gonna bother snapping a shell and going back to a safe position. Now the cool thing about the map we're playing on, Yukon, is that when you're going to the middle, you have a lot of possibilities playing all down, because the profile of our tank is very small, which means that when we're hiding behind this little rock here, we do have the possibility of only showing our turret. Yes, we still have the big, massive cupola that we can't hide, but hey, that's better than nothing. Always be aware of your surroundings, killing that Scorpion G in the process. Now we want to help that T69. We're in a 3 versus 2 situation, but I feel like my medium is going to die soon, so it's probably going to turn to a 2 versus 2 pretty quickly. Now, once again, we are using our extreme engine boost, and just take a look at that. We made the K91 missed us one time, and now he's not even going to bother anymore. He's shooting at the T69, which is probably the biggest mistake this man did, because now we killed him. We managed to bounce the 53 TP, and now it's turning into a 1 versus 1 situation. It's going to be a little bit difficult for us, I'm not gonna lie. As you can see, he has more hit points than me, he has the possibility of doing quite a lot of damage, and on top of that, you're gonna see that a little bit later. But the guy we're facing is level 50 using the 53 TP, which means that he's an experienced player. It's going to be difficult, but nothing is too difficult enough for us to get our ace tanker and our video done. So what are we gonna do? We are gonna wait for him, because I'm gonna use the wreck of this K91 in order to hide myself. But yeah, it's not necessarily going to be something really useful, and you're gonna see why in a second. Because yeah, that 53 TP decided to push forward, and I don't know how, he just snapped the shell straight into me, which yeah, is not something I really like, to be fair. Okay, now, what is happening? Where is he going? I'm thinking, hey, you know what? This guy knows that I'm waiting here. And if I stay here, he's going to be able to maybe outrun me, to circle me, or to appear from a position I would not anticipate. So instead of staying in the spawn, I decided to go away. I decided to kind of chase him. It's really risky, because if I encounter him without being in an all-down position, he's probably gonna kill me. On top of that, keep in mind that I'm a one-shot even with gold shells for him, which implies that if he just sees me switch to gold shell, and he penetrates me and it's over. But luckily for us, it seems like he decided to go on the other side. Or maybe he just baited us into thinking that he was going on the other side, but it's not the case, which is cool because at least here I do have the possibility of seeing him coming. So yeah, once again, we're using the mobility, not the engine booster or the engine consumable. Why? Because I want to keep it for a very special moment. Just imagine if I miss my shot and he's pushing me, at least I will be able to retreat. Now he's giving his position away, he's capping. Not a problem, we have finally the advantage, because it's kind of funny, this game, because right now you see that our how the tables turned, because basically I was the one on the spawn waiting for him to bait me, and now we exchange position, and I'm in a much more comfortable one than him, because from here I actually have the possibility of anticipating. He didn't spot me. Luckily for me, he didn't spot me, because he didn't move from his position too much or enough to be able to spot me, and it's going to serve a great advantage. Now I know where he's aiming, and because I know where he's aiming, I'm going to adapt. He's looking on the other side of the map, bing bam boom, I snap my shell, on top of that we did a top damage 500, and now I just have to wait for him. I snap my adrenaline, switch to HE shell because he's a one shot, and I'm not even bothering Bim bam boom, we shoot the HE shell and we managed to get ourselves our 4th kill and nearly 5.1 thousand damage. And obviously all of that led us to an ace tanker. Since the beginning of this video, I'm talking about hull down, but maybe that there are some newbies here that don't know what I'm talking about. So instead of just explaining what it is, let me show you. Overall, the TL-7-120 is not a bad tank. Probably something that fits more the pro player playstyle than the average newbie, but still, it's something with which you're gonna have some fun. Unfortunately, for the price Wargaming is putting in the shop right now, aka around 15,000 gold, it's way too much. At this price, you can have much better tanks in the shop, and you can just wait for the offers coming during Christmas time in order for you to get not only 1, but 2, maybe even 3 good premium tanks at tier 8, which is a much better tier. The thing I don't like about tier 9 is that it's really an in-between. It's either you get top tier and you're gonna crush every single tier 8 you encounter, or you're facing tier 10 that have been buffed recently and it's going to be a nightmare, specifically when you're playing with a tank that doesn't have any armor when you switch to gold shell. Therefore, it's not something that you should get if you are a newbie, it's not something you should get if it's your first premium, and it's not something you should get if you want to have the latest broken tank. Overall, I would say it's average out of 10, but still worth it from time to time if you have some money spared. Hopefully you enjoyed. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. And personally, I'm gonna see you soon for a new one. Bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Like that video? Why not going for another one? I have plenty of videos you can choose from. All you have to do is hop on this truck. Come, don't be afraid. It's only one video.